This is for Haley, and we need to cut it down some, and we may try leaving some little parts out, but we'll do the best we can here. Okay, can you read like from here and leave out anything that's not necessary?
In the days when the judges ruled in Israel, a severe famine came upon the land. So a man from Bethlehem in Judah left his home and went to live in the country of Moab, taking his wife and 2 sons with him. The man's name was Elimelech, and his wife was Naomi. Their 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem in the land of Judah. And when they reached Moab, they settled there. Then Elimelech died, and Naomi was left with her 2 sons. The 2 sons married Moabite women. One married a woman named Orpah, and the other a woman named Ruth. But about 10 years later, both Mahlon and Chilion died. This left Naomi alone without her 2 sons or her husband. Then Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had blessed his people in Judah by giving them good crops again. So Naomi and her daughters-in-law got ready to leave Moab to return to her homeland. With her 2 daughters-in-law, she set out from the place where she had been living, and they took the road that would lead them back to Judah. But on the way, Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go back to your mother's homes, and may the Lord reward you for your kindness to your husbands and me. May the Lord bless you with the security of another marriage." Then she kissed them goodbye, and they all broke down and wept. "No," they said, "we want to go with you to your people." But Naomi replied, "Why should you go with me? Can I still give birth to other sons who could grow up to be your husbands? No, my daughters, return to your parents' homes, for I am too old to marry again. And then even if it were possible, and I were to get married tonight and bear sons, then what? Would you wait for them to grow up and refuse to marry someone else? No, of course not, my daughters. Things are far more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord himself has raised his fist against me."
And again they wept together, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clung tightly to Naomi. "Look," Naomi said to her, "your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and her God. You should do the same." But Ruth replied, "No, don't ask me to leave you or turn back. Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you live, I will live."
Whither thou goest, I will go.
Your people will be my people, and your God my God. Wherever you die, I will die there and be buried. May the Lord punish me severely if I allow anything but death to separate us." When Naomi saw that Ruth was determined to go with her, she said nothing more. So the 2 of them continued on the journey. They came to Bethlehem. The entire town was excited. "Is it really Naomi?" the woman said. "Don't call me Naomi. Instead, call me Mara, for the Almighty has made life very bitter for me. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me home again. Why call me Naomi when the Lord has caused me to suffer? The Almighty has sent such tragedy upon me." So Naomi returned from Moab, accompanied by her daughter-in-law Ruth, the young Moabite woman. They arrived in Bethlehem in late spring and began the barley harvest.
That's it, huh? Quickly.
Naomi went into the harvest fields to pick stalks of grain left by anyone who was kind enough for them. Naomi replied, "All right, my daughter, go ahead." So Ruth went out to gather grain behind the harvesters. As it happened, she found herself working the field that belonged to Boaz, the relative of the father-in-law Elimelech. While she was there, Boaz arrived from Bethlehem and greeted the harvesters. "The Lord be with you," he said. "The Lord bless you," the harvester said. Boaz asked the foreman, "Who is that young woman over there? Who does she belong to?" The foreman replied, "She's a young woman from Moab who came with Naomi. She asked me this morning if she could gather behind the harvest. She'd heard the work. She's hard at work ever since, except for a few minutes in the shelter." Boaz went over and said to Ruth, "Listen, my daughter, stay right here with us. Gather grain. Don't go to any field. Stay right behind the young men in the harvest. See what part of the field you're harvesting and follow them. I've warned the young men to not treat you roughly. And if you're thirsty, help yourself to the water he draws from the well." Ruth fell at his feet, thanked him. "What have I done to deserve such kindness?" she asked him. "I'm only a foreigner." "Yes, I know," Boaz replied. "But I also know about everything you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband. I've heard how you left your father and family and mother and your own land and came here to complete strangers. May the Lord, the God of Israel, on whose wing you have come, take refuge and reward you fully for what you have done." Ruth says, "I hope I continue to please you. You've comforted me by speaking so kindly to me, even though I'm not one of your workers." In the meantime, Boaz called to her,
Mealtime.
"Come over and help yourself to dip your bread in my sour wine." So she sat with his harvesters. Boaz gave her some roasted grain to eat. She ate all and wanted more, and it was left over. When Ruth went back to work again, Boaz ordered the young men, "Let her gather right here among the sheaves without stopping her. Pull out some heads of barley from the bundles and drop them on purpose for her. Let her pick them up and don't give her a hard time." So Ruth gathered barley all day, and she beat out the grain and filled an entire basket. When she carried it back into town and showed it to her mother-in-law, Ruth gave her roasted grain that was left over from her meal. "Where did you gather all this grain?" Naomi asked. "Where did you work? May the Lord bless the one who helped you." Ruth told her mother-in-law about the man whose field she worked. "The man I worked with today is named Boaz. May the Lord bless him," Naomi said to her daughter-in-law. "He is showing kindness to us as well as your dead husband. The man is one of our closest relatives, one of our family redeemers." Then Ruth said, "What's more, Boaz even told me to come back and stay there tomorrow." "Good," Naomi exclaimed. "Do as he says, my daughter. Stay with his young women right through the whole harvest. You might be harassed in the field, but you'll be safe with Boaz." So Ruth worked alongside the women in Boaz's field, gathering grain until the end of the barley harvest. Then she continued working for him through the wheat harvest. All the while she lived with her mother-in-law. One day Naomi said to Ruth, "My daughter, it's time that I found a permanent home for you so that you will be provided for. Boaz is a close relative of ours. He's been very kind by letting you gather grain among your young women. Tonight, he'll be winning barley at the threshing floor. Now, do as I say. I tell you, take a bath, put on perfume, dress in your nicest clothes, then go to the threshing floor and don't let Boaz see you until he finishes eating and drinking. Be sure to notice where he lies down, then go and uncover his feet and lie down there. He will tell you what to do." "I will do everything you say," Ruth replied. So she went down to the threshing floor that night, followed the instructions of her mother. After Boaz had finished eating and drinking and was in good spirits, he lay down at the far end of the grain and went to sleep. Ruth came quietly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. Around midnight, Boaz woke and turned over. He was surprised to find a woman lying at his feet. "Who are you?" "I'm your servant Ruth," she replied. "Spread the corner of your covering over me, for you are my family redeemer." "The Lord bless you, daughter," Boaz exclaimed. "You're showing even more family loyalty now than you did before, for you've not gone after younger men, whether rich or poor. Now don't worry about a thing, my daughter. I will do what's necessary, for everyone in the town knows you're a virtuous woman. But while it's true that I'm one of the family redeemers, there's another man who's more closely related to you than I am. Stay here tonight. In the morning, I'll talk to him. If he's willing to redeem you, very well, let him marry you. But if he's not willing, then as surely as the Lord lives, I will redeem you myself. Now lie down till morning. Ruth lay at Boaz's feet until the morning. Then she got up before the light enough for people to recognize her. For Boaz said, no one must know that a woman was here at the threshing floor. And Boaz said to her, bring your cloak and spread it out. He measured 6 scoops of barley and placed it on her back. When Ruth went back to her mother-in-law, Naomi said, what happened, my daughter? Ruth told Naomi everything Boaz had done for her, and she added, he gave me these 6 scoops of barley and said, don't go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed. Naomi said to her, just be patient, my daughter, until we hear what happens. The man won't rest until he settles this thing. So Boaz went to the town gate, took a seat there. Just as the family redeemer I had mentioned came by, Boaz called to him, come over here and sit down, friend. I want to talk to you. So they sat down together. Boaz called 10 leaders of the town, asked them to sit as witnesses. Boaz said to the family redeemer, you know Naomi, she came back from Moab. She's seeing the land that belonged to our relative Elimelech. She's selling it. I thought I could speak to you about it. So if you want to redeem her, if you wish, if you want the land, then buy it here in the presence of these witnesses. But if you don't want it, let me know about it right away. Now, I'm the next in line to redeem it after you. The man replied, I'll redeem it. Boaz told him, of course you purchase the land from Naomi. Also requires you marry Ruth, the Moabite widow. That way she can have children, carry on her husband's name. Then it can't happen, the family replied, because this might endanger my own estate. You redeem it, I can't. Now in those days, it was the custom of Israel for any person transferring a right to purchase and remove their sandal, hand it to the other party. This publicly validates the transaction. So the other family redeemer drew off his sandals. He says to Boaz, you buy the land.
You what?
What? You buy the land.
Oh.
Okay. Boaz said to the elders, you're the witness that today I bought Naomi and the property of Elimelech, Kilon, and Mahlon. And with the land I've acquired Ruth, the Moabite widow of Mahlon, to be my wife. This way she can have a son and carry on the family name of the dead husband instead of to inherit the property here in his hometown. You're the witness today. And the elders standing around the grave, we are witnesses. May the Lord make this woman who's coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, from whom all the nations descended. May you prosper in Ephrathah and be famous in Bethlehem. May the Lord give you and your descendants by this young woman, who will be like those of our ancestor Perez, the son of Tamar of Judah. So Boaz took
You
Ruth,
want me to read?
into his home and became his wife. When he slept with her, the Lord enabled her to become pregnant, and she gave birth to a son. Then the women of the town told Naomi, praise the Lord. He has now provided a redeemer for your family. May this child be famous in Israel. May he restore your youth and care for you in old age, for he is a son and your daughter-in-law who loves you and has been better to you than 7 sons. Naomi took the baby and cuddled him to her breast. She cared for him as if he were own. The neighborhood women, now at last Naomi has a son again, and they named him Obed. He became the father of Jesse, the grandfather of David. This is a genealogical record. Perez was the father of Hezron. Hezron was the father of Ram. Ram was the father of Amminadab. Amminadab was the father of Nahshon. Nahshon was the father of Salmon. Salmon was the father of Boaz. Boaz was the father of Obed. Obed was the father of Jesse. Jesse was the father of David. So they would go down that line.
And you go all the way through, and David is in the line of Jesus. They've traced that all the way through.
Okay, I guess that's as far as that's as far as we'll go, I guess.